Summer officially arrived at 4:51 p.m. today, and as we do at the beginning of every astronomical season, we welcome back our resident astronomer, Dr. Chris Palma, from the Penn State Department of Astronomy and Astrophysics. Good to see you again, Chris.
Thank you.
So this is the first time we've had a chance to chat post-eclipse. Any personal or professional takeaways from that big day back on April 8th?
Yeah. I mean, a big one is I really want to compliment our friends and colleagues at the Behrend campus in Erie. They did a wonderful job preparing for and hosting so many people. But the thing I heard in 2017, the last time there was an eclipse in Pennsylvania, was you really have to see one of these yourself in person. And that really got driven home to me. I still am in awe of what a total solar eclipse felt like.
Yeah, I agree. It was an experience I will never forget. Talking about other sort of astronomical experiences, the Northern Lights made an appearance here in Pennsylvania back in May, though it was cloudy most of the time. I didn't see them. Does the astronomy community get as psyched up as the meteorological community about the aurora?
We do, and it's because it's powered by an outburst from the sun, right? And we really want to understand the sun, and studying the aurora and studying these outbursts help us understand our nearest star much better than we would otherwise. I had friends who were driving. I tried myself to maybe get a little bit further away from the clouds, but all I saw were green illuminated clouds.
Okay, I didn't even see green illuminated clouds. Let's talk a little about some research coming out of your department. Lots of folks in atmospheric science are looking at how machine learning, commonly called artificial intelligence, can be a useful tool. And some of your faculty are using it too, in this case to help find Earth-like planets, which is always one of our favorite topics.
So what machine learning, artificial intelligence is really good at is sifting through huge amounts of data. And what astronomy is really good at is creating huge amounts of data. And what we're looking for is we're looking to see very subtle changes in stars. And so you're looking for patterns in how the stars behave, and it's hard to tell the difference between a pattern created by a planet versus one that's just a natural behavior of the star. And so human intelligence coupled with machine learning is really good at pulling out those very, very hard to separate patterns.
I'll put meteorology up against astronomy for generating lots of data anytime. Another bit of research from your department caught my eye because it mentioned wind, but not our kind of wind. Instead, in the context of black holes. Tell us about what that wind is.
I mean, it's maybe not quite as strange as you think it is. It's a gas flowing from one location to another. But what happens is, you know, everyone probably watching this knows black holes don't generate light, but there's gas flowing around the black hole that gets really hot. And hot gas glows. So what we think is as that glowing hot gas glows, some of the nearby gas in the vicinity starts to get pushed away. And so that's a quasar-driven wind. And what we can see, though, is we can really tell that it's changing. It's getting faster, and that's what this particular result was about.
And one other result, sticking with your department, I think there's something about a good acronym, and I think most people are probably familiar with GOAT, greatest of all time, but some of your faculty have been involved in BOAT, brightest of all time. Tell us a little bit about that.
We love to talk about explosions in space as well, right? Supernovae. So it turns out there's multiple different ways in which you can generate these huge explosions, and this one was the brightest of all time. So in these explosions, so much energy gets released that new elements can be created. So Carl Sagan used to like to talk about like carbon, nitrogen, oxygen gets created by stars. Well, what about gold, right? Where does gold come from? We think gold comes from the explosions of massive stars. So that's what they were looking for.
Explosions that create sort of these metals. This week and next are weather camp weeks here in our department. Students from grades 8 to 12 are here studying all things weather. What are the equivalents over in your department?
People seem to really like astronomy.
They like weather too.
I've gotten that impression from being on Weather World. So we get asked to do programs for kids. So we do a summer camp through Penn State's Science U program. We just finished a program called Road Scholar, which is for retired folks. We had something like 50 people from all over the country come visit to learn about astronomy for the week. And of course, during the Central Pennsylvania Festival of the Arts, we do AstroFest. So if you want to come look through a telescope, everyone in the community is invited.
All right. I got to put in a plug for meteorology. We did the Road Scholar program last week for about 30 adults, and it was fabulous.
Yeah.
We have about a minute left. Any summertime sky watching tips for folks?
Yeah. This has been the year of once in a lifetime, once in a generation things, right? So the last time you can see a solar eclipse in Pennsylvania for decades now. So there are these rare stars that explode, but they don't destroy themselves in the explosion. So they brighten for a short amount of time, and then they fade out. And so there's a peculiar star called T Corona Borealis, not the most exciting name, but it brightens every 80 years. So your challenge is to go out and find T Cor Bor, because once you find it, it will be the last time you will be able to see it without a telescope for the next 80 years.
All right. Chris Palma, Penn State Department of Meteorology, or Penn State Department of Astronomy and Astrophysics. You can join us anytime.
Sure.
Thanks for stopping by. And we will be back in a moment with more.